I moved into the apartment on a Wednesday, the kind of day that feels like it's holding its breath. Rent was suspiciously cheap, but I didn't care. I just needed a place where no one knew my name. That night, at exactly 2:19 a.m., I woke up because the walls exhaled. A slow, trembling hoo, as if the room itself had been underwater and finally broke the surface. I froze in my bed, heart hammering. Old pipes, I told myself. Old buildings make old noises. Then the second sound came. A choked sob. Muffled. Wet. So close it felt like it was inside my pillow. I sat up. The apartment was pitch black, except for the orange streetlight bleeding through the curtains. My breath fogged in the air even though it was the middle of summer. And then, a whisper slid out of the wall behind me. Soft. Strained. Feminine. It said my name. My full name. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I just sat there, staring at the trembling paint on the wall, realizing something simple and horrifying. The apartment wasn't empty. It was grieving. And it had just noticed me. I convinced myself I imagined everything. Exhaustion. Stress. Trauma. Anything was better than admitting a wall whispered to me. The next night, the hallway outside my door felt wrong. Longer than it should be. Quieter than any building filled with tenants had the right to be. At 2 a.m., I opened the door to get some air, and the hallway lights flickered. Just once. When they steadied, the hallway looked tilted. Not much, just a subtle lean downward, like the entire floor was sinking at the far end. But only when I wasn't staring directly at it. Every time I turned my head straight on, it snapped back to normal. Then I saw it. A shape. A human shape crawling across the ceiling of the far end of the hall. Its limbs bent like broken branches, dragging itself forward with soundless jerks. My eyes watered from fear, but I didn't blink. Because I knew, somehow I knew. If I blinked, the thing would be closer when my eyes opened. I whispered into the empty hallway. I don't belong here. But the crawling thing froze mid-movement and twisted its head toward me, even from meters away. Like it had been waiting for me to say that. I slammed the door. The apartment sighed behind me. On the third night, I woke up to crying. Not in the wall this time. Under the floor. It was a low, hopeless sound, like someone trying not to cry but failing anyway. I pressed my ear to the floorboards. There was cold air coming up through the cracks. Cold air, and a voice. A woman's voice. Whispering. Don't let him bury me again. I jerked back like the floor burned me. There was no basement in this building. The landlord insisted. The blueprint insisted. Reality insisted. But I was hearing someone trapped beneath me. I put my phone against the floor and recorded 30 seconds. A mistake. When I played it back, the whisper was clearer, stronger, like she was speaking right into the microphone. He's still here. He never left the building. Don't let him find me. Then, right before the recording cut out, a second voice appeared behind hers. A man. Breathing hard. Angry. Close. My blood froze as the final words hissed through my speaker. Stop talking to him. By the fourth night, I had a rule: never open any door after 2 a.m. But the wardrobe wanted me to break that rule. It started with gentle knocks. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps again. At first I thought it was from the hallway. Then I realized the knocks were coming from inside the wardrobe. even though the wardrobe door stood wide open. I aimed my phone flashlight at the darkness inside. The beam didn't reach the back. It was impossible, the wardrobe was shallow, but the darkness stretched on like a tunnel. The knocking started again, deeper this time. More desperate. I lifted my phone and hit record, extending my arm slowly into the dark. When I pulled it back and re-watched the footage, there was a door inside. A wooden door, chained shut. And behind that door, a pale hand was slapping weakly, as if begging me to open it. But it wasn't the hand that terrified me. It was the eye that appeared next to it. Unblinking. Watching. Waiting. I dropped the phone. The wardrobe door swung shut violently on its own. And the apartment whispered through the wood. "Don't open what he closed." I called a structural engineer to check the apartment. I needed anyone to confirm I wasn't losing my mind. He measured the walls twice. Checked the blueprint. Checked it again. Then he frowned and said, "This apartment is supposed to be exactly 48 square meters." I already knew what he'd say next. "But this unit is 53. 5 extra square meters. A missing space no one accounted for." That night, at 2:19 a.m., the cursed minute, the wall beside my bed cracked. Not a small crack. A full vertical split. The drywall peeled back like skin opening, revealing a narrow room hidden inside the building. Chains hung from the ceiling. The floor was stained dark. And carved into the wall, with fingernails until they must have broken, was a message. "He left me in the dark." A gust of freezing air flowed out of the secret room, carrying with it the unmistakable smell of rotten old blood. And something else. A single sob. The apartment wasn't grieving. It was remembering. I tried to leave. I swear I did. But when I reached the lobby, the front door wouldn't unlock, like someone was pushing it closed from the other side. That's when I met him. A thin man with hollow eyes, standing barefoot in the hallway. His clothes were outdated, like he belonged to another decade. He stared at me and said, "You're in my apartment." I stammered anything, but he walked past me, heading toward my unit. I followed him instinctively. When he reached my door, he placed his hand on it and whispered, "I died here." The next morning, shaken, I went to the building manager. She looked up the tenant list and turned pale. "That can't be," she whispered. "No one has lived in that unit since 1998. The man who rented it, he hung himself inside." She showed me a photo. I recognized him instantly. The barefoot man from the hallway. Except in the photo, his neck was bruised purple from a rope. The apartment began to weep on the 7th night. Thick, reddish-brown liquid seeped from the corners of the living room, running down the walls like tears. I touched it once. Just once. It smelled like rust. Like old sorrow. Every drop hit the floor with a soft pat, echoing through the room as if the building itself were mourning someone long gone. At one point, the lights flickered, and for a single horrifying second, the weeping turned into wailing. A deep, guttural cry that shook the windows. I backed into the farthest corner, shaking, whispering, "What do you want me to do?" The crying stopped instantly. Like the apartment heard me. Like it understood. Then the liquid on the wall shifted, slowly forming letters. I watched in silent horror as the phrase appeared. Tell the truth. The apartment wasn't haunted because it was evil. It was haunted because it was begging. Begging to be heard. Begging for someone to finish a story that had been smothered in its walls. By the 8th night, I understood one thing. The apartment didn't want me dead. It wanted me to uncover something. But the building itself, the structure, the thing controlling the darkness, it didn't want the truth out. At 2:19 a.m., my bed slid 2 feet toward the wall. Not fast. Not violently. Just intentionally. Then the wall split open, not like a crack, but like a mouth unfurling. On the other side was pitch black nothingness, but within it, I saw movement. Dozens of pale arms reaching out, trembling, grabbing at the air like drowning victims. A wind pulled at me. Cold. Hungry. The sobbing voice whispered behind me. He put us here. He wants you too. I scrambled away, digging my nails into the floor as the darkness pulled harder. Just as my feet were about to lift off the ground, the mouth slammed shut. The apartment had saved me from itself. I snapped. I grabbed a hammer. I tore into the walls. Not caring about safety. Not caring about anything. Something inside me knew exactly where to break, like the apartment was guiding my hands. Behind the false partition, behind layers of old wood and plaster, I found her. A skeleton. Still chained. Still curled in a fetal position. As if she died begging for light. Beside her was a diary, pages fused by time and dampness. I opened it carefully. The first clear sentence I read shattered me. He locked me in here because I tried to leave him. The grieving voice. The whisper calling my name. The crying under the floor. She wasn't haunting me. She was pleading. Begging for someone, anyone, to reveal what happened to her. And the man who had done it. The man from the hallway. He never left. He'd been living in the walls of the building, a ghost of guilt and rage. I brought the diary and the evidence to the police. The building was searched. In the locked maintenance room, they found him. The killer. Alive. Old. Still living in the building like a parasite, hiding in crawl spaces, watching tenants through vents. He didn't speak when they arrested him. His eyes were empty. Like the building had drained every last piece of him. That night, at 2:19 a.m., the minute everything always began, the apartment was silent. For the first time. No breathing walls. No crying floors. No dripping grief. Just peace. As I packed my bags, I caught one last reflection in the mirror. A woman's silhouette stood behind me, faint, soft, almost smiling. And then a final whisper brushed my ear. Thank you for hearing me. The apartment no longer grieved. Because its story had finally been told. I moved out the next morning. I didn't look back. I didn't want to. But trauma has a strange way of clinging to you, like dust you can't shake off. For weeks, I kept hearing distant sobs in my sleep, echoes of the apartment's grief, or maybe echoes of my own. I tried to start fresh. New city. New job. New life. It almost worked. Until I unpacked the last moving box. At the bottom, wrapped in cloth I didn't remember using, was something small and cold. A key. Not to my new place. Not to any place I'd ever seen. A rusted, iron key, the kind meant for a door that shouldn't exist anymore. My hands shook as I held it. Then, from somewhere deep in the walls of my brand new apartment, very faint, almost apologetic, came a soft, stifled sob. A woman's sob. Her sob. The one I thought I freed. The one I thought I left behind. My phone buzzed suddenly. Unknown number. No caller ID. A voicemail. Just 3 whispered words. He's not gone. I dropped the key. It hit the floor with a metallic cry that echoed far too long, as if falling down a hallway much deeper than the one in front of me. I don't know what followed me. Her warning. Or him. But every night, exactly at 2:19 a.m., my new apartment holds its breath. And now, so do I.